Ethan Caldwell was a man who seemed to have it all: wealth, power, and respect. A self-made millionaire, he built his real estate empire from nothing, earning admiration for his discipline and vision. But beneath the surface, Ethan was lonely. His relentless drive had left little room for love, and he yearned for a partner who could share his life. Enter Lena Carter, a stunning former model with a magnetic charm and a mysterious past. She was everything Ethan thought he wanted: beautiful, sophisticated, and seemingly devoted. Their whirlwind romance led to a fairy tale wedding, but Lena harbored a dark secret. She wasn't in it for love. She was in it for the money, and she wasn't working alone. Ethan and Lena's relationship moved fast. Within a year, they were married, and Lena seamlessly integrated herself into Ethan's world. She hosted lavish parties, charmed his business associates, and played the role of the perfect wife. But behind closed doors, Lena was still entangled with her former lover, Victor Rains, a Wall Street trader with a history of financial fraud. Victor had a plan, and Lena was his willing accomplice. Together, they saw Ethan as nothing more than a means to an end: a $40 million payday. Lena and Victor's plan was meticulous. Ethan's wealth was largely tied up in real estate and investments, but $40 million in liquid assets would go directly to Lena if something happened to him. Their scheme was simple but sinister. 1. Poison Ethan slowly, making his death appear natural. 2. Manipulate him into updating his will, naming Lena as the sole beneficiary. 3. Transfer the money and disappear before anyone suspected foul play. It was a perfect crime, or so they thought. Lena began administering small doses of thallium, a tasteless, odorless poison, into Ethan's daily routine. She laced his morning coffee, his vitamins, and the herbal teas she claimed would help his stress. At first, Ethan barely noticed the effects, just a little fatigue and occasional dizziness. But as the weeks passed, his health deteriorated. He suffered memory lapses, crippling exhaustion, and unexplained weight loss. Doctors were baffled, attributing his symptoms to stress or an undiagnosed illness. Lena played the role of the devoted wife, hiding her satisfaction as Ethan grew weaker by the day. Ethan's longtime assistant, Ava Reynolds, had worked with him for over a decade. She knew his habits, his work ethic, and his personality, and she knew something was terribly wrong. After reviewing his medical records, she noticed a pattern. His symptoms matched those of heavy metal poisoning. Meanwhile, Detective Hannah Monroe had been investigating Victor Rains for financial fraud. When she discovered that Victor had been secretly meeting with Lena, she suspected something far more sinister. The pieces of the puzzle were coming together, but time was running out. Ethan's condition had worsened. He was now bedridden, barely able to eat or speak. Lena knew it was time for the final dose. But before she could act, Detective Monroe and her team arrived at Ethan's home with a search warrant. They found traces of thallium in Lena's belongings, along with incriminating messages between her and Victor. The evidence was damning. Lena had been plotting Ethan's murder for months. She was arrested before she could finish the job. Lena's trial became a national sensation. The prosecution laid out the evidence: months of poisoning, a forged will, and her secret meetings with Victor. Lena claimed Victor had coerced her into the scheme, but he turned against her, providing messages and recordings that proved she was the mastermind. In court, the jury listened to an audio clip of Lena saying, "He'll be dead in a month." It took them less than 4 hours to reach a verdict: guilty. Lena was sentenced to life in prison, while Victor, in exchange for his testimony, received 20 years. Ethan, though permanently affected by the poisoning, survived. But the betrayal left him scarred, both physically and emotionally. Ethan withdrew from public life, selling parts of his empire and dedicating himself to charity. He found solace in helping others, but he could never fully trust again. Lena, once a glamorous socialite, became just another inmate. But 2 years later, on a stormy night, she escaped from prison. The details were murky. Some believed she had inside help, while others thought she had been planning her escape for months. Ethan never looked back, but he couldn't shake the feeling that Lena was still out there. And some people, he knew, were too dangerous to disappear.